Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Enchanting Lawyer Podcast. This is your host, Jacob Sapochnik. Every week, we have an exciting entrepreneur or a business person or an attorney that helps us, share stories and that inspire us to do our job better. And today, I'm honored to have a very exciting guest. His name is Tony Litster, and he is currently in Idaho. And Tony is a very interesting guy. He's an author of multiple programs, coaching programs. He himself has been a coach for CEOs in the past 10 years. And now he's a marketing director for Litster Frost, the largest personal injury law firm in Idaho. So, Tony, I'm excited to have you on the show. How are you?
Thanks, Jacob. Super excited to be here. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Excellent. So, I talk to attorneys and people in the marketing and in the support world, helping attorneys either in marketing or in business, and it's interesting to get all these different perspectives as to what works right now in building successful law firms, which are like any other business. And I'm excited to have you today because I know that your background is, you have such a diverse background. And why don't you share with us a little bit about your personal story, because I think it's inspiring, and kind of tell us about how you got involved with this law firm.
When I was 17 years old, I started working as a janitor for my uncle's law firm. And this is in the early days of personal injury law. Uh-huh. And I remember he was a criminal lawyer, and he got into personal injury law. He had this big stack of binders he came home from a seminar with, and said, I'm gonna start doing something different. Like, this is the early days, and no one knew how to run personal injury law firms at all. And I was the janitor in high school, and then as I got older, I took different roles. I was the receptionist for a while, and I was like, 20, 21 years old. I was the runner for the law firm. I started managing cases for the law firm as we set up a case management system. Then a few years later, he brought me in to set up a negotiation department, which, in terms of efficiencies of personal injury law firms, having attorneys negotiate cases is really inefficient. And so we set up a negotiation department, and I won't get into all the legalities because you have to jump through some legal loopholes to make sure you structure your negotiation department right. But I came in and streamlined, created a negotiation department, negotiated hundreds of cases myself, really understood the dance between the insurance company and the client themselves. Then I've actually been, about 15 years ago, I was in an accident. And then again, about a year ago, was rear-ended by a drunk driver. So I got to experience from the patient side of this, the missing gaps in this. And I basically had every position in the firm except attorney. And they wanted to send me to law school and have me go get my law degree and, be one of the lawyers on there. And I didn't want to. So I went off and ran my own businesses for about 10 years. And my thing is marketing. It's what I've gotten really, really good at. And they asked me about 2 years to come back and help them redo their marketing. It was struggling. Mm-hmm. The yellow book was going away. The phone books were not working anymore. And they wanted some online strategy, which is what I've done with my other businesses. So I came in, we restructured everything. We created a bunch of video series that we connect through the internet with. And we were able to generate an extra $2 million last year. Wow. And we're on track to do better than that this year. We've had 3 of our very best months ever in 2015 as a result of what we're doing. And I know there's a lot of attorneys that are struggling right now, that they're fighting for business. We actually have the problem of we're getting so much business that we're having to focus a lot on our management system and internally putting systems in place. It's a great problem to have.
Of course.
But I've been on virtually every side of the equation, and frankly, I think I know the business better than a lot of attorneys do. Obviously, I'm not an attorney, and I get that part. I may not have the best legal advice, but from the business standpoint of running the business, that's what I've done. And so it's fun to dig in and bring, because law school doesn't teach any of this stuff.
Of course.
And so I get really pumped up about, I know what it's done for my family. I know what it's done for, we're a family firm. We have a lot of family members that work for the firm, which sometimes is good and sometimes is not.
It's a whole different podcast, right?
Oh, that's a whole different podcast. Yeah, we actually, one of our trainings we do is how do you manage family members within a law firm, but that's a whole different conversation. But I know the benefit that happens when you start to be able to bring in consistent, steady revenue streams. and then you build systems around it on your marketing side and your operations side. It's like a lot of amazing things can happen. You serve clients better, you make a whole bunch more money, and you create lifestyle for everybody.
Right. And, listening to what you just told me, I take a few things. First of all, this law firm was kind of struggling. And then you came in, a non-attorney, but with a great marketing background, taking some of the great ideas that are being used in the marketing world, and there's so many beautiful ideas, and you started implementing. Why don't you take us through this process? What was the first thing you've done getting back into the firm to revamp their marketing?
Let me give you a little context with that. So when I came back in, this is probably 10 years ago, and I redid their negotiation department. The third week of every month, so around the 21st or 22nd of the month, we would have a secret meeting. Okay. And the secret meeting would go like this. Okay, payroll is $180,000. We have $100,000 in the bank. What are we going to do? So I just want to put a little context to this. This is not like, I came in and everything was we were just barely staying alive. And we would literally go and look at all of our cases and say, okay, what are we going to do? Can you get that one to settle? Can you get that one to settle? We would get adjusters to send the check and the release at the same time, which they never do, because we knew we could deposit it and we get it signed and deposited fast enough to make payroll. So that's where it originally kind of came from, was really, really, really struggling. When I came in, their web presence was awful. We did a lot of TV ads, and we had a massive yellow book presence and phone book presence. I don't know what they call it around the country, but it's the
nothing on the web.
Our web presence was horrible. Mm-hmm. So the very first thing we did is we came in and we created, we identified our core message. We created video series, several different videos to go around that core message. Mm-hmm. And immediately we started getting business off the web. Now things are more sophisticated, right? This was a few years ago we did that part. Things are more sophisticated because everybody has a website now. Everybody's competing with SEO and all these other things. And so what happens, the problem I see, and I've worked with several different law firms in helping them revamp their messages. It's one of the things we actually do now is we help other law firms do this as long as they're not in Idaho. So if you're listening in Idaho, I can't help you. But that was the deal with the family. They're like, don't you train our competition? Right. Okay. But here's the problem. You go, and it's Yellow Pages has this problem, and attorney websites have this problem. Go look at 10 different attorney websites, and I've looked at hundreds of them. Mm-hmm. They all say the same thing.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's personal injury law. This isn't really just even about personal injury. It just happens to be that's our niche. You look at legal defense lawyers. You've got divorce lawyers. You got bankruptcy lawyers. You got all these different immigration lawyers. Uh-huh. What do they all say? They all say what's important to the attorney, right? See, the attorney tends, and look, I'm not trying to knock on people. I want to get people results, and so I like to say things straight. It might hurt some feelings. That's not the intention here. Toughen up a little bit. I'm gonna beat up your website here. But they say the things that attorneys care about, right? What's important with attorneys?
That's law school.
It's law school. Yeah. It's funny. My brother-in-law, he went to law school, mm-hmm. and he came and worked for the family firm. And while his friends were in law school, they were like, "Oh, dude, you can't go to the dark side, man. You're not going to go work for personal injury law straight out of law school. That's like you're selling yourself out, man. Where are your values?" I mean, they're saying this kind of stuff to him, right? And then about a year and a half later, when they were all struggling to have jobs in the market, they were like, "Man, we should have taken a job at the personal injury law firm." Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But these websites, they say what attorneys think are important. They say 28 years of combined legal experience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Legal degrees in this and this and this. I was top of my class and this and this. They all say the same thing. There are a bunch of statements, tough, aggressive. There are these things that we call them in the marketing world. We call them, and one of the guys I really learned a lot of this from, Diego Rodriguez, he's like, these are platitudes. Mm-hmm. Platitudes are statements that are overused, and therefore they have no meaning to the end user.
Right.
the end user doesn't really care that you've been in business since 1973. The end user doesn't care about the combined legal experience. Millions of claims settled. We've got this, we've got that. They don't care about that. And so one of the problems is attorney websites are notorious for being full of a bunch of platitudes. And they look at their competitors and their competitors are like, oh yeah, well, we did this, we did this, we did this. And so they do the same platitudes. They all say the same thing. So the very first thing we did with my family in our marketplace was we differentiated our message. Mm-hmm. We came up with a unique message that nobody else was saying. So in our case, this is the funny part. We came up with our 3 guarantees. Mm-hmm. I think we'd say something like the 3 guarantees you must demand from your personal injury lawyer. And we sat down, we had this long strategy meeting. All day long we talked about this and we said, what is it our customers care about? What are the pain points that they have? And we identified these 3 pain points that our customers cared about. Now, one of them was the kind of typical standard personal injury thing where we go, we guarantee to get more money in your pocket or you won't pay a fee, guaranteed. Okay, that's kind of standard, right? All personal injury attorneys say that. Right. But the other 2 were unique. And I'll just share them because you're going to go look at our website anyway, and you're going to look. It's not like I can keep these a secret. So the second one is we realized as we evaluated our cases that there was a whole bunch of cases that came in where someone had more medical bills than there was insurance available. And so all these cases got turned down by the attorneys all around town. Mm-hmm. But we happen to know, and this is one of the things we teach in our training, is how to actually get a full fee when there's not enough insurance to cover everything. Mm-hmm. It's one part of our sort of internal operations training that we do for attorneys is we teach them how to do that. But that was one of our specialties, how to get a fee on cases that everybody else was throwing away. And so we'd say if you have more medical bills and the insurance, we guarantee we'll get you more money in your pocket or we won't take a fee, guaranteed. And then the third one was we realized that when people got injured, they often got sent to collections. Right. They would, they'd have all these medical bills and they wouldn't have money to pay them. The insurance would drag their feet paying them. And so it was a pain point for the client. Repeatedly, clients are like, oh, the collectors are calling me. The collectors are calling me. Oh, they're beating me up all the time. So we basically went, oh, well, we can say something nobody else is saying. We're going to come in and say, when you work with us, we guarantee to make these collection calls stop. Guaranteed, right? That was kind of our little thing. Mm-hmm. And the funny part about this is, it's not that hard to get collectors to stop. You just send them a letter that says, you have to, this is why it's so funny to me, because it makes us stand out in the market. You send them a letter that says, do not call me anymore. You have to only correspond with me by mail. And now legally they take you off their call list and they stop calling. So we have this form letter. We send it out on behalf of our clients. The collection stops. Mm-hmm. They think we're amazing. Now, did it say anything about combined legal experience? No. Did it say anything about where we went to law school? They don't give a crap. They want the collection calls to stop. They want, right? So depending on what type of law you're in, mm-hmm. step back and say, what is the pain point that the client is having? And how can you differentiate yourself? Now, any other lawyer in Idaho, well, any lawyer listening to this could make the same claim, right? Any lawyer could say, we're going to make the collection call stop, guaranteed.
But they didn't.
And you send the letter. It's not like it's a unique selling proposition. It's not like magic sauce, but it works. Why? Because no one else is saying it. And it's really what people want to hear.
No, I love that because, like I said, you realize that, and again, maybe taking it from the marketing world, how can you sell something? How can you appeal to the person's emotions, and not and get the ego and put the ego on the side, which is very difficult for us attorneys to do, and by doing that, it looks like it started working. So,
it's off the charts. It differentiates us.
You made those changes, Tony, but then you mentioned something interesting about you start with the videos. Why don't you take us through what you've done before and what are some of the new things that are happening in video? Because I know you're very passionate about video.
I do. I love making videos. Here's the deal. And videos are a challenge. I was in the studio 2 nights ago shooting. We actually make videos for personal injury law firms. Uh-huh. And we've, because we understand what converts. So we actually create them for the attorneys because these are so challenging. So the very first thing we did We do it in English and in Spanish. So I was shooting Spanish videos the other night. I'm bilingual, and I was doing both the English and the Spanish videos. And I'll just tell you, from the person behind the teleprompter on the green screen with the lights shining on me, and I've been in the studio for at least a couple hundred hours shooting videos in my life. I'm good at it. I have a public speaking career. That's what I did before I came back and worked with a law firm. So I'm good at it. I'm excellent at video. And most people suck at it. And it's even being excellent at it, it is seriously the most draining thing. I usually have like a 2-day hangover after I get done making videos. But it's not just making videos. The videos have to be strategically scripted to hit their hot buttons and trigger them. See, here's what happens in selling. And this is what they don't teach in law school.
Right.
In order to get someone to buy something, you have to cause them in their mind to see themselves doing the activity. All right, so if I'm doing marketing, I do marketing towards lawyers. If I want to do marketing towards lawyers, I get that lawyer in his or her mind to see themselves working with me, to imagine it, to imagine getting the products that I sell, to imagine doing those things. Same thing with the end user. I need to cause that person that was in an accident, or that person needs a divorce, or that person needs a bankruptcy or immigration or whatever it is. I need to cause them in their own mind to imagine themselves doing this activity with me. And I need to do it in a way that they don't think I'm forcing it on them. Because, like, for instance, when I just said it just now, I'm sure there were some attorneys listening to this that are like, oh, he's trying to get me to think of me working with him right now, right? You have to be more covert than what I just was doing. Otherwise, it's not as effective, right? So the videos have to be scripted in a very particular way. You got to keep them short and sweet nowadays. People's attention spans are really, really short. And then you have to have a clear call to action that gets them to take a step right then. And then you need good, high production value. People from, like in the attorney world, they want high quality videos. And so you combine all those elements, and if you got the right script and the right messaging and the right call to action, and you cause them in their mind to imagine themselves working with you, and that feels good to them, and you have a really clear do this now call to action, and boom, you do that, and they watch 7 or 8 videos on your site, and they all cause them to cause repetition in that cycle, then the person feels like they want to work with you. It's a very calculated thing. It really is. And so it can be used manipulatively. I happen to believe that anytime I sell something, I believe in it wholeheartedly, entirely. And so I don't feel manipulative about doing it because I know I'm bringing so much value. But it is a completely calculated process. Here's what most attorneys do. Go to most attorney websites. They hire somebody to come in and put a camera in their office. And so they sit in front of their fancy books, or they sit at their desk and they make their desk look all organized. It's like the only time their desk ever gets organized, right? They probably actually go into someone else's office because it's not theirs. And they have someone shoot a video of them, and they sit there and they talk about lame stuff. They're like, yeah, well, in law school, I did this, and I was able to do this.
No strategy, basically.
There's no strategy, and they're so boring. I mean, I watch these because I'm in this industry. I'm always watching. I watch way more than anybody else watches. They are so boring. So what we initially did at my family's law firm is we went around and we did these little interviews of the lawyers and some of the case managers and some of the people. They were so bad. so horrible. They were beyond. I couldn't have made up worse example videos of what never to do. And the problem was there was some ego involved. I'm not an attorney, right?
Sure.
I'm kind of like the black sheep in the family that went out and made millions of dollars. That the only reason I have any respect in the family is because I made millions of dollars. Otherwise, I'm still the black sheep of the family. You know what I mean? I caused all this trouble in my life, and I had I was reckless as a teenager, and so they don't want to listen to me. They still see me as the reckless teenager that told them. I won't say what I told them, right? So anyway,
we'll beep it.
Yeah, the beep. That's right. And so for me to come in and as a non-attorney to be on their videos was such a stretch, but their videos were so bad that this is what we actually did. This is how it really went down. They were so bad that Diego's the one that's helped me with making these videos and the strategy, and I'll talk about him in a little bit. But He goes, bro, we can't do this, man. This is so bad. So he goes, why don't you just come in the studio? We'll shoot all these, and then we'll tell them we're looking for someone that'll be their spokesperson, and we'll just use these for now. And then that was years ago. So I came in, we scripted all the videos just right. I shot them. We nailed the message. It spoke straight to the person and their pain and exactly what they needed. It was the whole thing. And then we put them on the website, and they were like, well, I guess we can put these up for now. But they were converting so well that they've just, they've left them because it makes them millions of dollars. And so they've had to bite their tongue about the price.
Could we link a few of those videos, examples, in our show notes, just so people to see those? Do you still have those?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I'd be happy
You'll send them to me. Because I think it'll be good for people to see
I'll come up with a
those
couple
videos.
Yeah, and so you can actually see it. You can see the languaging. You can see the production value. You can see those different things. So that's so with video marketing. I'm just thinking about the elements that are really important. We've talked about a bunch of them.
I mean,
I think that it really just comes down to you got to keep these things short and sweet and relevant to what that person needs. Now, this leads to the next evolution of marketing. So what happened in the internet is that at first, if you had a website, people thought that was cool. And so then people started getting websites, and you'd get business just because you had a website. And then it started to evolve. What the next strategy level was what I'm talking about a few years ago, video. So instead of just websites full of written content, people don't read anymore. So we would put videos on the website. And it used to be you'd put a home video, and it would be 2-3 minutes long, 4 minutes long, whatever. And that home video would explain all the different products and services that you have, and it could kind of paint the whole picture in a short period of time. This is what we can do for you. This is who we are. This is why you should work with us, blah, 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 blah. And so that's what most attorneys have now. So there's a lot of attorneys, I'm sure, that are listening to this, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, I got that. High production value. We say what we do. It says it to their pain. I got it. But I'm going to tell you, the game changed again. People's attention span is so short now. And look, we spend millions of dollars in marketing. Okay, so we test everything. We test, like our system, we have this dashboard system with our business. If I call the office right now, in 10 seconds, I will have registered within the dashboard system. And it will say, call came in from this number to this line at this time, and receptionist answered. She was on the line for 22 seconds with me, and it was transferred to this person. I was on hold for this many seconds, and it transferred to this person, and they talked to me for this long. And then there's notes that person puts into the computer that link to that then say, this was our conversation. This is what I told the client, blah, 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 blah. We track every piece of advertising. We track every phone number. We track every call.
Now,
we record the calls.
Let me stop you for a second. So this dashboard, very interesting. Is this something that you guys developed, or it's something that is available to purchase?
It will be available for purchase. We developed it for ourselves. Okay. And then in the work I do with attorneys, so we started setting up marketing for other attorneys and doing this kind of work. And then we found out there was a bunch of stuff they wanted. Right. That wasn't necessarily important to us. And so we're adding pieces to it. So yes, it will come available at some point. But my point in all this is getting back to, I'm not just making this crap up. This is data driven. Yeah, I like telling stories and I like to talk. Okay, so I'll be the first to tell you. But I'm not making this crap up about what's changing on the internet. And so what we found was, and this is really a Diego discovery, because Diego works with clients in all kinds of different industries with power marketing consultants. And Diego actually came and implemented a lot of this stuff for us. And so what we found was that homepage video, that 3-4 minute video that used to work like candy, isn't working anymore. And the reason we think is because people get to a website and they take a look at it and they go, I got to watch a 4-minute video. Think about yourself. I don't know if you experienced this, but
absolutely.
I'm in the video marketing world, right? I have hundreds of videos that I've produced in different industries, from personal development to attorney stuff to all kinds of other things. When I sit down to watch a video, I'm like, I don't want to sit through this whole video. I don't know, like, get to the point. Or is this relevant to me or not? So we've changed our homepage strategy. And the homepage strategy now evolves around what we call a big button strategy. So I'm going to give you the short version of this, but I want to give a big warning here, because we have people that try to copy this from us. And because, they see what we're doing, they try to copy our strategy. I get it. I copy a lot of other people's strategies too. Like, and it's fair game. Nothing wrong with it. It's public domain. But just having big buttons on your website is not necessarily going to create conversion. There's a deep strategy behind each of the buttons, where they're placed, what the buttons say, what the buttons lead to, all these different things. But in a nutshell, this is what we're finding. A big old video right on the homepage of your website, when someone gets there, is not converting like it used to. And so what we want to identify is we have these buttons that we put, and we do anywhere from 2 to 6 buttons. And I've done this in multiple industries with my own marketing business. But we do 2 to 6 buttons, and these buttons satisfy the needs and wants of 80% of the people that come on the site. And so when they first hit the site, within about 10 seconds, that person can tell if you're going to satisfy their need and want. And so there's a big strategy. We actually spend an entire day going through each of the buttons and the languaging behind it and what the relevant content is, because then that leads to our video strategy down the road.
It's on the front page.
But when people, what's that?
They're on the buttons on the front page.
Yeah, we do buttons on the front page. We're not doing video on the front page anymore. And this is actually, and Diego is putting on a training where he's going to teach some of these insider secrets that'll be coming up. And I helped him create one of the videos on there. That's why I know it's coming. But it's this idea that when someone comes to your site, they want to know right now what you have. They want to know in like 10 seconds, can you serve me, yes or no? I don't want to read your whole site. I don't want to click on 17 links. I don't want to watch your 5-minute video. And this is super, super cutting edge in the world of internet marketing. This element is what's hot right now. It's what works right now, but it's the strategy behind the buttons that really, and I know we don't obviously have time to go into that. On the video series Diego's doing, he's going to go into more of that.
Perfect.
And so you can get deeper into the actual strategy of what to say on your buttons and how to link through the buttons and do all those things. I'll give you an example though. So I got hit by a drunk driver about a year ago, and I got a brain injury. I got a concussion, and I was completely disoriented for like the whole month of January. I mean, literally, I would get out of bed and be dizzy, and so I would just lay in bed and do my, I'd run my business from bed, and then just lay there the rest of the day because I was dizzy the whole time. Now, I gave you my background. I grew up in the law firm. I was in the law firm when 2 of the attorneys tried to steal all of our clients and open their own law firm. And we caught them right before they did it, and we kicked them out of the building. You know what I mean? Like, I have been on every level of law firm. I have been the case manager. I've been I've closed clients and gotten them to sign. I've negotiated the cases. I've given them their checks. I've done every part of this. I was a court interpreter for like 4 years. I've sat in judges' chambers and I've negotiated deals as if I was an attorney. I basically practiced law without a license, and I would cut deals for people that didn't speak English and bring those deals to the prosecuting attorney and say he wants to cut a deal. So, I've been a lawyer, just not legally. I know this business inside and out. And when I got hit and I was jacked up and I was laying in bed hurting, I got out of the hospital. I had no clue what to do. I was so confused and I was so disoriented. I was just like, what the heck do I do? I don't know what to do next. I don't know. I get that I need to go and get physical therapy and get chiropractor and go to a neurologist and go to, whatever other doctors I end up going to. I understand contextually what to do. I recognize I shouldn't have gaps in my treatment because the insurance company will say I wasn't really injured, blah, 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 blah. Look, I know this business better than anybody, and I didn't have a freaking clue what my next step was. And I literally laid in bed for like 3 or 4 days, and I finally called my brother who runs the firm, and I'm like, dude, I feel like an idiot asking you this, but what do I do next? So what that caused us to realize was there was this disconnect between our message and our clients' experience. Our clients, that's where most of them came from. And we didn't realize it. Running the firm, running staff, making payroll, making videos, running ads, blah, blah, blah. You're running a business. We didn't realize that there was this deep need that was not being met. And when we could put, one of the buttons on our website, it says that. It says exactly what I laid in bed and thought. Actually, what I laid in bed and thought was, what the hell do I do now? But why would you put that on it wouldn't let me put that on there. I wanted the website to say, what the hell do I do now? That was
that would have been a good message.
I think that would convert better, but my family's pretty conservative. They wouldn't let me. That's just the black sheep making trouble again. So we have a button that says, what do I do next? I've been injured. What do I do next? Now, take this across the board. You do a lot of immigration work, right? So I've written a lot of Spanish ads. I've written actually immigration ads. And so in our immigration ads that I wrote, I put myself, I've lived out of the country. And so I know what it's like to live in a foreign country and not have my documents and be sitting in a police station in a foreign country with guys that had guns sticking out of their pants. They didn't use holsters. They stuck them in their pants like it was Miami Vice and telling me what to do and getting in my face and telling me to shut my mouth. And, it was very, to tell me not to speak English, very intimidating, very confusing. So I took that and when we created these immigration ads, I said, what is a person that has migrated to this country?
How does it feel?
Oh my goodness, how does it feel? And so for the where I live in Idaho, it's about 25% Hispanic. And so Spanish speaking. So we created these Spanish speaking ads. And one of the things we say on there is we say, su abogado no es la migra, which means your attorney is not the immigration department. Su abogado no es la policía. Your attorney is not the police.
We are on your side, basically.
Yeah. Somos aquí para representarle. We're here to represent you and your rights. And you have rights, like these videos I just shot, these Spanish videos I just shot the other night. I had the hardest time. There was some word that with my gringo accent, I just couldn't say it. It was something like, it was migrator, it's like status migratory. I couldn't say it, but it was like they're basically their status as an immigrant.
So basically you're getting into you're making the clients feel connected with the service provider. We're on your side. I want the
ad to say what they're thinking.
I like
if I'm a migrant, if I'm somebody that's immigrated to a country and I don't know the laws, I'm like, man, an attorney, they work with judges and police and the government and all that. Man, if I tell them I'm here illegally, they might turn me in.
Yeah, some people think that, of course, and it can be in any industry.
What are all the other immigration lawyers saying on their ads?
Well,
listen to their radio ads.
Yeah.
I've been in business since 1973. I've helped 17,000 people. I've done this. Okay, that's real nice, but I still have this underlying question that goes, man, if I come and tell you I'm here illegally, are you going to deport me?
Right, exactly.
What about bankruptcy? What do bankruptcy people care about? So I bought and sold foreclosures for 5 or 6 years. I worked with people that were in foreclosure. Yeah. A lot of my marketing background came in some of those early businesses I had. And it's funny because here I'd come in and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to make $20,000 on this house. So I got to get this deal done. And I would have people that were dragging their feet. They wanted to sell the house. We'd done the paperwork. This one time I had a house. I bought it already and they were still living in the house. They needed to get out. I had the whole house sold. I had the buyer coming over in the afternoon to do an inspection. And then they were going to go to the title company at 1:00 and they were going to sign off and buy the house for me. And I get there at 10:00 in the morning. These people haven't packed. And I'm sitting at their kitchen table and I'm like, so guys, what's up? No, nothing. This goes on for like 10 minutes. I finally just go, I got to cut to the chase. You know that the buyers are coming this afternoon? Yeah. They're going to want to see that you moved? Yeah. Okay, what's the problem? And they finally cracked and yelled at me. And they're like, we don't have anywhere to put our stuff. We can't move into our apartment till Wednesday. We have to have 3 days and we don't have anywhere to put our stuff. What do you want us to do? And I was like, oh, that's easy. Why don't you just tell me that? So I went down and rented a U-Haul van. We loaded all their stuff into it. And then we rented it for 3 days. And then when their apartment was ready, we moved it in. So there's these little issues, like somebody needed $1,000 to move into the next place, but they wouldn't tell me that.
Right.
So when you're dealing with people in a crisis situation, there's these needs that may not be apparent to you. You're running a business, you have cash flow. Yeah, I get you have cash flow issues. Most businesses do, no matter what size they are.
But you have to be aware of the others as well.
But you got to think your marketing needs to be to that person, right? Is somebody going through a divorce? What do they really care about? Okay, yeah, they care about getting a fair shake and getting their 50% of assets or whatever, yes, those things count. But what do they really care about? You know that they did a study on with doctors, and what do they call these? Sorry, my head's thinking in Spanish because I just shot a Spanish video about this. I'm trying to remember what it's called in English. I'm sorry. It's malpractice. I was like, malaprixia. How do you say that in English? So malpractice, right? They did a study on this, and they found that the doctors that had like high malpractice claims versus low malpractice claims. And from the outset, you would think, well, if the doctor was better at their trade, if they didn't make mistakes, then they would have lower claims. But that's not what they found. It was the doctors that spent between 2 and 5 minutes extra talking to the patient, the doctor that took their hand and held their hand, the doctor that looked them in the eye and had really good bedside manner didn't get sued, even though they made mistakes.
Right.
And the doctors that were disconnected and detached and machine-like and cold got sued way more.
And
so what does this tell you as an attorney? In your marketing, in your messaging, in your approach, in your connection to these people, if you can get into their head and into their heart and your message speaks that's when you're going to connect.
Perfect.
So for example, we had a brain injury video I shot. Well, you think I just got on there and said, if you've been injured and had a brain injury, call our law office today at 333-3333 and we'll represent you to get you the most money. Do you think somebody that has a brain injury gives a crap about that? I had a brain injury. It jacked me up for several months. I'm grateful I've gotten over it, but it sucked. Do you think I gave a crap about what my insurance settlement money was going to be? No. I wanted to know, like, how do I get better? Do you really get what this is like for me? So what do you think I did on the brain injury video?
You appealed.
I said, let me tell you about my experience. I had a brain injury. The insurance company came to my house. They sent someone to my house to interview me. They interviewed me several times because they thought I was faking it. Why? Because I'm on the friggin' videos. They did their homework. They're like, this guy understands personal injury law. We want to see if he's really hurt. They came to my house and they interviewed me to try to see if I was faking it. And it pissed me off. Sorry if I'm a little blunt on your show. I don't know if attorneys are allowed
what I
to
mean
say.
is that in this video, you essentially appealed.
I connected with those people and I told the story,
which is what they really needed to.
That's what they care about.
Tony, as we're running a little bit late on the show.
Yeah,
already.
sorry, I told you I could talk forever on this.
But to conclude is, we shared a lot of great tips, and what I'm going to do is I'll also we're going to share a link to a program that you're doing for personal injury lawyers. And we have a special link in our show notes, so people can who are interested they can sign up for this. And what's the best way to connect with you, Tony, for people who want to get in touch?
Well, that's a good question. I wasn't planning on that. Well, I know this. We're with Diego. We're actually putting together a video training where we're going to teach these inside secrets.
The link, and in the link we'll have all the information how to connect.
Perfect.
Just make it easy.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll connect through that series. That's going to be the best way to find me.
Excellent. Very good. Thanks a lot, Tony. I know we can talk forever. But
hey, Jacob, thanks for giving me a little time. This has been fun. Absolutely. I love talking about this stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony, for taking your time this weekend. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in every week. Love your emails, love your comments. And we'll see you at our next episode. Have a beautiful day.